Hi, Jeff Baffle here, HumbleBumble Chess Services. We're going to demonstrate and analyze a game for you here. It is May 4th, 2020, and we're going to be doing a game from Joel Johnson's Attacking Chess 101, Volume 5. And it is one of my games. So, yeah, when authors demonstrate one of their own games or, publish a game of their own, a lot of times they feel a little bit, they feel a necessity to justify using their own games. Why doesn't everybody show a Kasparov game or a Magnus Carlsen game? They're the best players. Why aren't you using their games? Why are you using your own game? So yeah, there's a little bit of truth in what they say, and a lot of the authors will say, well, I'm using my game because I understand my thinking, and I remember what I was thinking, and I can better explain things because it's my game. That is definitely true, I think, but I think a lot of it is just the fun of showing a game, usually that game that you won. So full disclosure, I won this game, and I like showing off my games. So, but it also is a game that you can learn a few things from too as well. So we're gonna just set the stage here. This is from 2014 Colorado Open. Played in Greenwood Village, Colorado, and my opponent, I am white, and in this situation, the yellow pieces are white, the brown pieces are the black pieces. So, yeah, anyway, so I'm white, and my opponent is Katie Wise. She was rated 1959 at that time. I think she's a college student now. I'm not sure exactly if she's continuing her chess or what she's doing, but she was a very strong player, had beaten a lot of the top players in Colorado, and my rating at the time was 1745, so she outrated me by more than 200 points. So, and normally that would be pretty much of an easy victory for the higher rated player. She's a very humble person, so there was absolutely no sense of I'm the better player, and you should just get out of here because I'm just going to crush you. So none of that. Katie is not like that. She's a super nice person. So anyways, here we go with the game. This was something approaching classical time controls. It was an Allegro, probably 90 minutes plus 5-second delay or something like that. I forget what the time control was, but it was a slow game. It's not a rapid or a blitz game. Okay, so we'll start off with my favorite move, Knight C3. I call this the Queen's Knight attack. You're going to see it referred to as the Dunst opening, Sleipner's opening. I think the Wikipedia article on it says that this opening's got more names than any other opening, but I call it the Queen's Knight attack. And unlike the move Knight F3, which they call the ready opening, and the assumption is that it leads to unique positions, the ready opening has very few unique positions. So in other words, it's not really the ready opening until a few more moves are made. It usually transposes it into some sort of queen pawn opening. So, but the Queen's Knight, conversely, it has a ton of independent lines, way more than the ready, I think. And yeah, will it transpose into a known opening? Yes, of course it has that possibility. And the known openings that it transposes into are e-pawn openings normally. So anyway, so that's my favorite opening, and Katie responds with e5. And one of the things that causes my opponents to have a little bit of an issue is the fact that this doesn't stop anything. This, except for maybe b5, it lets you play just pretty much whatever you want. So right off the bat, my opponent has to decide how are they going to structure their game. I already know how I'm going to structure the game, so or if I get the chance. So it's usually my advantage here in the opening because I know the territory better than my opponent. Okay, so Knight F3, and yeah. So again, this is we don't have any set known opening on the board now, but now it does. I do take the opportunity to transpose into a king's pawn opening. This can be the 3 knights, the 4 knights, Philidors can come on the board. So a lot of different things are possible. So she does probably the classically best move, and I'm sure this is the move that the engines would suggest. And this was the position I was aiming for because I want to play what's called the Halloween Gambit. And so I take this pawn. So if you look on a website called Tim Crabb's Chess Curiosities, you're going to find he has an article on this titled "A Breeze in the Sleep Before Night's Opening." This is absolutely outrageous. You're giving up a piece almost for nothing. I mean, you do get some things here, but the main thing you're going for is shock value. And I'm not shy to admit that. What do I have to lose? She outrates me by 200 points. So right here, it's a shocking thing. Almost guaranteed, unless you know your opponent plays this, there's going to be almost no preparation that you're going to face. So again, this is my territory, my turf. I understand it. But let's make no mistakes. Black is just winning now. Black is a piece ahead for 1 or 2 pawns. It's not enough. White has a lost game. Why would I do that? Well, the main reason is I'm trying to invite my opponents into the maze of the Minotaur. And if you remember your mythology, the Minotaur was a horrible creature, regularly ate people, and he lived in the center of a horrific maze, an unbelievably confusing maze. If you're going to have combat, you probably couldn't pick a more dangerous spot. But what if you had a map to the maze and the other person didn't? So then the danger works in your favor. And that's essentially what I'm doing here. I'm saying, come on in, Katie, come on into this horrible, vicious, violent place. I got a map, you don't. And she's a very strong player. She knows what she's doing most of the times, but I think the shock just got to her. What can you do? I mean, are you going to let that piece just sit there? Or are you going to try to, transpose into a French defense or something like that? So she takes the piece, and now this is the part of the compensation you get. Again, it's not enough compensation, but it is something. So I play here, and where does the knight go? Anywhere the knight goes, it's going to get harassed again, as you can see. So she goes here, here. Again, she makes what the engines would consider to be a good move. She gets her knight completely out of the way, and she doesn't have to worry about any kind of forks or traps. So let's look at the position. If you didn't know I was a piece down, if you just came casually and looked, you go, wow, Black has really misplayed this opening. It's horrible. Look at the space advantage. Look at the development advantage for White. And then you start counting pieces and you go, oh yeah, she's a piece ahead. So this is some compensation for it, but not nearly enough. Black should have a win here for this. So now I play the obvious move here, and again, visually look at this position, and what strikes you is that White has an overwhelming advantage until you remember that, oh yeah, Black's a piece ahead. But being a piece ahead and winning the game, sometimes there's a huge amount of territory in between there. And I think Katie just got confused. This again is probably the only try for White to make anything out of his temporary initiative. And Katie responds with a horrible move. She sees that if she takes like this, I take back, it's not so easy to deal with that pawn. I'm going to support it with my knight here, and then there's a check here, and it just gets really messy. So she sees that. So she says, well, I'll keep his knight away from my sensitive squares. The problem is that now White has genuine compensation for this piece. Black is in a horrendous bind. Let's put it this way. If it was God playing Black, or Kasparov, or Magnus Carlsen or something, yeah, they probably would still win, but it would be a long, grinding process. Mere mortals like us, probably not going to be able to survive this position. Okay, so there's nothing decisive here. I'm just going to develop. and see what she can do. So if you put this on your engines, your computer programs at home, you're going to see that it's pretty close to equal. Probably black's still rated a little bit ahead, but every move from now on for black has got to be perfect. The slightest error in my initiative is going to become overwhelming. For me, I don't really have that burden. I can make decent moves, and my bind might not be as sharp or as strong, but I'm still going to have a bind, and I'm still going to be completely safe from any kind of near-term danger. Like I said, what I'm not safe from is her consolidating and getting into an end game. I'm not safe from that. But in terms of the middle game, for a long time, I can make just reasonable moves. She has to make precisely perfect moves. Okay, so she goes here, and you know, the rule is don't bring out your queen early in the game. But what else can she do? What other moves does she have that really make any sense? In the book, Joel says I already have a winning advantage of almost 2 pawns ahead. So that just shows you how strong my bind is. Even though she's a piece ahead, my advantage in development and my space advantage are what's crushing her. So I don't play the most precise moves here, but again, I don't have to because I've got the chokehold on her. She's the one that has to make every move count. So I go back here. She goes here. She's trying to get developed. Attack the queen again. She goes over here. I castle. And again, you'll notice white has nothing decisive immediately. He has no blow, no combinational blow he can strike right now. He's just basically choking the life out of black. And again, I'm not going to say that my moves are the most precise. If you put this on a computer, you're going to see it probably increases its advantage very quickly with some more precise moves. Okay, so I castle, so she does F6. She's trying to fight this central structure here, which is just choking her to death. And again, I don't have to do anything precise. I can make small moves, and it's up to her to find the best answer. She goes here. Okay, and then I go here, and I am basically sacrificing this pawn because it opens the E file, which is just one more thing she has to worry about. She takes it. And I go here, and I'm starting to open up this file. She goes back here, and I go here, and it's amazing how slow white plays this position. I'm not lashing out with checks or forks or further sacrifices. I'm just consolidating my position and finishing my development like it was a normal game. So she sees the problems here of discovered attacks with my bishop, the check. So she's kind of in full panic mode here. So she goes king to d8, which is not a good move. And Joel in the book says black had to try king f7 for any hope, although black should have already been finished off after so many poor moves. It seems like all black has moved is her queen and a bunch of pawns, even though we know better. The game finally concluded with black never moving either her bishop or rook in 28 moves. Astounding. As a player rated nearly 2,000, we know she understands the basic opening principles of developing her pieces, but this crazy opening seems to have caused her to temporarily forget everything she knew about chess. And that's the whole point of the Halloween Gambit, is to freak the other guy out, or the other gal. So, queen to d2, a5, b4, and if she takes, I take back, and I've got a threat on this rook and on her queen at the same time. So she goes to queen f5, and bishop to d3, queen to bishop to d3, queen to h3, queen to e3, starting to bring pieces towards the king. Queen to e6 to block the file. Queen to b6, check. And king to e8, takes. And now I've got a material advantage, and I still have a crushing bind on the position. Okay. And let's see here, takes, and then queen to c7, knight to d7. And it just is just an example of how helpless black is. I can make moves like that and I don't have to worry about anything. e5, bishop to e3, knight h6, a bishop to c4, knight f5, bishop to b6, and she takes, and of course that's a little bit of a mistake. Bishop to f7, checkmate. So a couple different things. There are different factors in chess. Development is just one factor. Material is another factor. Material is probably more important than development. But if you're if you're enough ahead in development, you can overwhelm your opponent, and sacrificing a piece is worth it. Halloween Gambit, not for the faint of heart. It's a completely lost game for white, and I was able to win because of the shock value. So thanks for looking at the video. Have a great day.